Welcome to Mainstream Moto. I'm Mike, and today I'm just going to be sharing the process of building this rack for the DRZ. Hopefully you can find some information or some insight that'll give you a hand if you're trying to build one of these yourself. I am not an expert, so feel free to find some improvements to make and to customize this for you. I hope you enjoy. We're going to cut off two pieces, two 1/2 inch long pieces of our 5/8 bar, and all I have is an angle grinder to cut this with, so I'm just going to try to cut it as straight as I can. Just going to use this little washer to mark center. So now we're going to drill a hole on either side of here, just in past here, and then weld both of those sides, and then we'll weld all along the top of here. So that's just deep enough to get into that 5/8 rod. Now we can go ahead and cut it to the length we need. I'm going to go 2 inches. Alright, so the plastics are supposed to fit over top of that. The seat bracket goes over top of that. So we're going to go with 6.5 inches. So I've cut a piece of wood that I had and drilled some holes in the ends and then attached the two ends so that that will sit exactly 6.5 inches apart while we do all of the welding and everything. It will hold it where it needs to be. And now I need to figure out how long I actually want this, because what we're going to do is we're going to build basically the hoop part out of that 5/8 bar. And then we're going to take this flat piece of metal here and we're going to cut it to fit inside that hoop that we make. That right there, that's the tank bag for my V-Strom. That's the bag that I want to put on the back. So that's the size of rack I want to build. I want to build it so that it fits that bag really well. And it shouldn't limit it strictly to that bag though either. It does have some magnets on the bottom, so I'm going to make it to where all those magnets stick. I don't know if I'll be relying on the magnets to hold it there or not, but I do want them to be stuck to that plate that we put on there. So I'm going to get some measurements and I will let you know what I come up with. So what I ended up with was 10.25 outside to outside here, and then it'll go up to these 2 points, and then it will taper into 8 on this end. This is just 8 inches from this corner to this corner. And so I cut a couple of these, just a couple round pieces. I'm going to just tack weld these in here, one there and one there, and then I'm going to tack weld this right there, and then I'll be able to bend all the sides to that. But feel free to use your imagination here so that it fits your specific needs. This was just so that it fits my tank bag the way that I want it to, but you might want it to fit something else. So experiment with this a little bit if you can. Also, I decided to go 20 inches from the end over here all the way to this end. It'll have a little bend once it gets past the end of the seat, so it'll take it down just a little bit, but I'm not really worried about that. So yeah, that's how long I decided to make mine. Alright, so now that that's cooled down, I'm going to bend these other two bends that are a foot from that end without heating it. But I'm going to push it up against something flat. And then I can square off of that. And mark out a foot exactly so that it'll be perfectly square. So we're going to bend this one first. I've got it about 1/4 of an inch past the edge of the vise here. I'm going to slide a pipe over this and then just reef on it. And I'm going to bend it to where it's square with the back right here. So that'll be square with the side over here. And then we can square this side as well as measure across for the same distance. And I'm going to pull this straight toward this piece right here. Eyeball right along here and pull straight over. It looks right. I'm going to pull it out of this vise to double check it. Looks pretty good. All right. Now that this is bent, I want to see how it's going to look on here. I've attached the two pieces on the sides here, and all I want to do is figure out exactly how long to make it, because I did use a bit longer piece to give me some leeway. I'm going to come right up onto the end of this rear fairing piece, and I'm only going to mark one side. So I'm going to mark here, then putting this up against something flat again, I'm going to measure the same distance from this side, 19 3/8, and mark it on this one. You need to figure out how far up this needs to go, because we want it up about right here. I don't want it too tall, but it's going to have a bend somewhere in here to flatten us out. So got to figure out where that bend needs to be. But I want it to come up right behind the seat. So right about here. And from the end, that ended up being 5 3/4. I need to try to get somewhat of an estimate here. I think we're looking at something right in there. At least it's a place to start. I can change it if I need to, I guess, but that'll give me a good place to start. We're going to have to bend it out relatively far here. Holy smokes, what are the odds of that? I'm going to use the top one as kind of a guide. Looks about right. Now I need to check and make sure that I didn't flare it out or shrink it in any way. Okay, so I think at this point I need to put a bar that runs across here. And I'll probably put it right where it bends. I think that'll look aesthetically pleasing. Okay, so basically that, and then this will go on top. So these circles are where the magnets are going to hit. And so I don't want to cut any of that out, but I do want to cut some of the stuff out, like right in here maybe a little bit in the back here. It's really not about making it lighter. It's about being able to hook something on the ends and having a section gone that you can put some hooks on, just to give it a little bit of styling, really. And there it is. So that'll give me something to be able to hook through. All right, so now we can take these back off. And put them back on our little wood jig here. So I've got this just sitting here using gravity. I've got one of these Irwin clamps up here to kind of hold the whole thing. I'm just going to tack it, and then see if it bolts on the bike. Make sure there isn't an issue before I weld it up all the way. I think that's going to look pretty good right there. So with that nut in there on this side, it's sitting right on top of one of the bolt holes. I'm going to drill up from the bottom. I'm just going to drill up through here to just make a mark with the bit, and then I'll move the nut over to this side and then drill this side and just make a mark so I can drill some holes to anchor it down. So those right there, those are the two marks. Got one there and one there. I'm going to drill all the way through. So I got my spacers here, but as you can see there's a little gap down there at the bottom, and there isn't on the inside because the way that this is domed in here. So I'm going to grind off a little bit of the other side of this to see if I can get that to match up a little bit better. That's a lot better. I'm really not sure about those nylon spacers. I might do something else. That's just the way that I've seen a lot of them installed for that, but I'm not sure if I like it. I might change it. But all I've got left is to clean it up and paint it. So I'm going to do that, and then I will show you the finished product. And there it is, all done. It came out pretty good. It's relatively low profile. I wrapped those little the nylon pieces with some electrical tape just to make them black. So most of this could be done with basic tools. As you saw in the video, I did use a torch to bend those, but I don't think you really need to. You could bend it more of like a hoop style, or maybe even just cut those so that they butt together. But if you do have the stuff to do it, makes it a little easier. But anyway, I hope you found this useful for your own project. Feel free to change it up, make it custom to you. So anyway, thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you next time.